not different. Maybe you're not different. Maybe you're not different. Maybe you're not different.
Seamus, I'm back in the kingdom, I suppose.
Yeah.
County Kerry. Out with you at Giles contracting. Some scenes seen the past few days, like.
Yeah, in fairness, since you came, you hit the good spots, I suppose.
Yeah, timed it perfectly.
Yeah.
We're down in County Kerry today, and some beautiful scenery.
There is,
Yeah.
it is. It's nice here.
It's hard to beat now.
Yeah, I think you could go anywhere and you wouldn't find it.
It looks like a scene out in New Zealand here, like.
Yeah, they're very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. We're at a bit of grass today.
We are.
Yeah. So the past few days we've seen you lifting pit silage, doing a few bales, and now we're stacking a few bales. So the pit silage then, your main duties are mowing and buck raking, isn't it?
Yeah, I do all the mowing more or less, and I share the pushing up then whenever needs be, as the fella says. Yeah, we have a few drivers there that be pushing up for us and things, but it's nice to do the mowing ourselves, you know exactly where to send people in or whatever, to know exactly what's going on.
So the harvester come silage times your main, is this your office then for the summer most of the time?
Yeah, this would be what I do most of the summer. Well, I have another job as well, but we work around it.
Yes. You do the both?
I do the two of them, yeah. Well, I work in a bar, like, so it's easy to kind of juggle the two, and
just works out well now.
My boss is very good, Tango. She's very obliging when I need days off.
I'd say you need plenty of them now. And then obviously the pet's a very important job now. You need a good man on the pet now.
Yeah, well, yeah. Some fellas are particular, like, to be able to fit it in and pack it right and different things, keep it straight and all the rest,
You can make sure the job's done right then if you're at it.
Yeah, well, fairly right anyway, I suppose.
Try your best anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's it is a thing that has to be done right now, in fairness.
So what are you running on the pit then?
It's the JCB 419 there. We got it 2 seasons ago now. This is 3rd season, I suppose. We got it, the 419 there. We're very happy with it, in fairness. The JCB are a savage machine. We haven't done a thing to it since we got it now, in fairness. Very happy with it. Very good to push and to climb, like. And for a smallish loader, she's well able to pack. We find, we do a few sheds there and things as well. That
indoor silos and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's not too big and awkward, like, it's just a nice size, like, it is.
Not too big, not too small.
Exactly, yeah.
It's good size for the yard you're working in.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be in few tighter yards there, and even for other work there for lime and dung and all the rest.
What harvester's running in front of the
The John Deere 7400 there, we have 06. Nice harvester in fairness. She's clean. We bought it, or my father bought it new that time, and for not like that, not an over big machine, still well able to take. We have it since new, and we kind of know what it is doing, and put a bit into it every winter, like
So you've had it some time then.
Yeah, whatever, I suppose 16 years, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, in fairness, it'd have a nice bit of stuff seen, like, but it's giving no trouble, and it's doing what we have to do perfect. When it was bought, we were probably doing a lot more than we are now. Just to justify a new one is next to near impossible, like, just the way they are.
For now, you'll just keep that one right then.
Yeah, it's not there, Geary's there, they come down and service it every spring or whatever. They're very good at anything that needs to go into it, put it into it, and draw roller bearings and all the rest, and like that. She hasn't missed a beat there now in the last couple of seasons, thank God. We were lucky with it, and like that, Aoife drives it on well, so.
Yeah. Hi. She's not fair to fill a big load anyway.
Yeah, that's for sure, yeah.
She loves a big...
Oh, if there's any bit of a long draw, you can be sure there'll be a clamp up the trailer in front of you.
Long draw or not.
Yeah,
just heat the trailer.
She wouldn't give it to say that she filled the half load.
No half load from her anyway.
No,
sure, cost of diesel, you may as well.
Yeah, that's about the size of it. Get it in out of the way and I'll be looking at it.
Yeah. So your sister drives a harvester then?
Yeah.
She drives it all the time then, yeah?
Yeah. And nobody else, maybe
Not allowed
very
in
odd
it.
time. No, nobody else is allowed in that.
That's her job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you are.
John Deere, always a John Deere harvester.
Yeah. So he's always run John Deere harvester then?
Always, yeah. Since we started years before I was taught of.
Yeah. When did you start driving the harvester then?
About eight years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
You've been on a long time then?
Yes. I worked my way up. I started driving drawing, so I well earned my position.
Yes. Been at it a long time then.
Yeah.
So basically then you were born and reared driving tractors.
Yeah. Born and reared.
Driving tractors. Worked your way up to the harvester.
Yeah.
Now you living the dream.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. Drawn in, you have a fleet of Deutz tractors.
Yeah, we always had the Lamborghinis there, the older ones, and we were upgrading there then. I suppose it was 2010 since we bought the last Lamborghini, and the new dealer then was just Deutz, and they're more or less the same thing, any different colour, and they're the same thing. And we kind of tried a few of them that time, we just priced around or whatever, and we found it hard to leave Deutz, the value that the Lamborghinis had given.
Never let you down.
Well, they put up fair hours there, like at very little, next to no trouble, like, there was no big back in repairs or nothing like that, like, it's only on small things. And these, since we got them now, this is the oldest one of this shape, and in fairness, we're very happy with it. We've like that, not laid a spanner to it as such, like, and the other ones, like, well, I know it's early days yet for them, but so far so good.
Yeah. And you are running a fleet of Deutz-Fahrs.
Yes.
Yes.
Newly converted to them.
Yeah. You were running Lamborghini before, weren't you?
All Lamborghinis before,
I did my research, looked through the Facebook page.
Yeah, we were all Lamborghinis before, so new management, new tractors, so.
Yes. And your biggest one's the 215. She does the mowing.
Yeah, mowing and pumping slurry. With the triples on it there, and a serious outfit there. You clear some stuff, like, you know, you have a massive bear of a tractor there to do anything with, like, you know, and the 165s, then there's 3 of them there, and they're kind of a nice size for
all-rounder kind of tractor,
a nice size for all work, like, you know, plenty of power, plenty of weight, very easy drive, very comfortable. We couldn't complain one bit about them. In fairness, now we're very happy since we got them.
And your drivers are happy enough in them too.
They don't be too much complaining anyway.
Yeah, they're setting up in comfort, I suppose.
Yeah, there's a massive difference. Well, compared to the old ones there now, there is a big difference, like, you know, a fair bit of comfort in them. And they're still simple, like, you know, you can see yourself, you have your mechanical spools, you have your gear stick, you've everything's there in arm's reach, you call it, like, you know.
And the likes, your 215's a bit better spec, isn't it?
Yeah, the RC shift there, which is the next step up from the gear stick, like, you know, they kind of come in 3 models. You have the gear stick, you have the RC shift, and your TTV then is Vario, like, so she's kind of Tiptronic there. You have everything on the one lever.
But like a range command in New Holland?
Yeah, very similar, yeah. You just keep picking it forward, and you same gearbox and everything. You just don't have a gear stick coming out of it. The same gearbox that's in these, everything. You still have your 5 gears and your 6 splitters, like, you know. It's just electrical instead of mechanical, I suppose.
So do you much driving in the Deutzes then? Do you like them?
I haven't done much. I would have done a lot more on the Lamborghinis, but they are nice. They're very comfortable.
Yeah.
Do you know, they're
I
nice.
sat in one there for a while, and they were comfy, like.
Yeah. They're different. Like, I suppose the Lamborghinis that I would have grown up driving, they didn't have cab suspension and all the air brakes and all these fancy things. They were just standard.
Yeah. Did the job though.
Yeah, definitely. But they're very similar. They're, you know, the changeover wasn't massive. Like, they're
kind of a different colour, really.
Yeah. Because they're the same engine anyway. So.
Yeah. They're still making new Lamborghini tractors, do you know?
They are. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there many about this part of the country, or is it just?
There's one garage around in Castle Island that sells them. So.
Is he selling Deutz-Fahr and Lamborghini?
No, different.
Right.
2 different garages. So one is Deutz and one is Lamborghini then. So
what mowers are you running on?
This is the Kuhn triples there, the 8830s. We're running, or the 8830 back mowers. We got them there last year. They're very good to cut, and they seem fairly easy to drive. Like, you know, we thought when we got them that we'd hardly have enough power. They'd be on about 250 for triples, like, but there's no sparklers on them now. They're everything is nearly raked and tated around here now, like, you know, so we kept the old trail more with the smarter then, you know, just for any bit we had to do. You'd make some ground with them in a short space of time, like, they're very easy on the road and everything compared to trail mowers, like, you know, they're half the battle.
We're raking up then, you have a converting, isn't it?
Yeah, a Keverlin rake, 9472, like that. Very happy with it. We've 3 seasons now, like that. A maintenance-free machine. She's there in oil bats, and even the first season we had it, I went for changing the oil in the gearbox, and there was no drain stud. It's a maintenance-free gearbox. Just check the level every now and again, and they reckon that there's no need to change the oil, and that they're deemed as maintenance free, so
that's ideal.
it is, and like that, you don't, for the cams then they're in oil bats, like, you're not greasing 15 grease nipples, like, you know. No, well, she goes from 24 to 29, so for the harvester you would ever maxed out the course, and the baler then, depending on crop and different things, you'd normally have her out, you know, you'll bring in your 3 10-foot swarts, and you will lovely even blow it in for baling and all the rest, and it makes a good square blow, in fairness. You know, it's a kind of a nice size. If you have big crops there, you know, you can, and tated stuff there, you know, if it's badly tated, you needn't be bringing in big lumps into a big 20-30 foot row, like, you know, you can cut her down there to 25 feet or whatever, you know, and you still have a nice row to bale, like, you know. Most for first cut mainly, sure, you have massive crops and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and
They love the quantity down here.
they might sacrifice quantity in a bit of it. But,
Yeah.
you would first cuts there in mid-June, like, sure, you're talking massive swaths of stuff. 30 feet there for the harvester we have is just, that's loads enough, like, you know. You probably could go bigger, but, you know, there's no real need to go that big, like, you know.
So you reckon then that rake and the harvester just goes hand in hand?
Yeah, well, you know, it's just kind of a happy, like, the harvester could take bigger, but, you know, when you're using it for both the baler and the harvester, you know, it's a good happy medium, like, you know.
It's handy, you don't need another rake.
Yeah, well, like that, the rake won't be idle there a lot of days, but at the same time, you know, we're looking for first cuts, it's mainly pit, and for second cuts, it's mainly bale. So the days you'll have both, it's only a few here and there, like, you know.
Yeah.
So
so you can't really justify buying another one, really.
Yeah, you know, if the rake goes off a couple of hours earlier, you know, and works a bit later for just a couple of days, that there would be a bit of pressure on. Like, it's not a big deal, like, you know, or it's not a big deal. There's
fair to keep on top of it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, there's a few that just contract raking, like, you know, they just do raking for hire, like,
right,
so if needs be, it's easy to get someone in to rake in front of either the baler or the harvester.
You're never really stuck then.
Yeah, I don't know, you'd hear people, like, they'd be giving out that the rake is going too slow, but we've yet to be too badly caught, as the fella says.
On the draw then, you have Smith trailers.
Yeah, the 20-foot Smiths there, they're all the old shape now, they're not the Field Masters. They're, the first one was bought in 03, I think the 03, 4, 2009 and 10 or something like that. They're all the older shape in it, you know, and they're a lovely trailer to pull, in fairness. They're a good happy medium trailer, you know. They're not too heavy, but they're strong at the same time. That's kind of why the father bought them at the time. You know, he looked at other makes and he thought they were a bit heavy, you know. Well, of course now they have the wide tyres, so it doesn't make a great pile of a difference. But
back then that was a big deal.
Yeah, massive, yeah. And Irish Smith are a great trailer anyway. They have a massive name now, like, the newer ones, they're very popular, like, you know.
It's good to see, like, trailers that have done such a long time.
Yeah, do you know, the first one there now, 03, she's, we painted up there last year, like, and churches like new again, do you know, and they like
just waiting for a few stickers as well.
Yeah, they're home now, I need to put them on.
Yeah.
And there is a couple of them trailers that have been up on their side a few times, like, you know, they have taken a beating, like, you know.
Accidents happen, I suppose.
Well, they're still in good shape, like, you know, they're not. Every trailer gets a bit of abuse, like, you know, but they're still very straight and very fresh, like, you know, for their age.
And they're well paid off, alright.
Yeah, definitely. You get the same price now as what was given for them new.
Yeah.
And you carry a serious load in them, like, you know, 20 feet. You'd put an acre into them, like, you know.
Must have been a fairly big trailer back in 03.
Huge, yeah, and the back of a 1300 premium, like, they were a fair. It was a fair camel of the oak, but like, when you think of a 130 in comparison now to a 165, like, there's a big difference.
I'd say there's some difference saving on fuel.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely nice now ever all kind of matching.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
you know, when they came first, see, I suppose I was so used to the silver tractor and the red trailer, and that was just the norm, but then when they came, I was like, oh, I don't know about these.
You weren't sure on
the
it
green, like,
yeah.
it took a bit of convincing, but
you
get used to it. Yeah, you get used to it now. Yeah, so
it's all Smith trailers then.
All Smith trailers, yeah.
Yeah. Would you go any bigger for this part of the country?
No. You could, like, there is people that do have bigger trailers, but the 20 foots are kind of ideal because you get in all the gaps within, whereas if you go bigger, then it's just harder, and machine convenient, I suppose. Like you have to make sure it's wide enough. And
Yeah.
like a lot of the yards as well that we'd be going to are small. Like you just manage with the 20 foot. So if you went any bigger, then you could run into a bit of trouble.
So you'd like to fairly look after your gear then, make it last.
Yeah, sure, it's nice to keep it right, when it is fresh, it's a fright to see it a little old dirty, but it's bent or whatever, it's nice to keep it clean and tidy and everything working, small things that make it a big difference comfort wise,
Yeah, sure, it even looks like those trailers they still look fairly fresh-ish.
Yeah, they do, they're like that now. There's one of them that's due a paint again, but if you do one every now and again, you keep them fresh, but it makes a big difference there to keep them inside, definitely over the winter, but even there, if the cattle shed's there in the summer, it's a small thing to back them in and keep them dry, tractors the same, out of the weather,
you can't keep them clean all the time, but you can always.
Well, when they're not, if you think there's going to be a week between jobs or something there for second gutter things, they back them in, and the tractors I suppose aren't too bad, but it's nice to keep them right all the same.
So it's not just contracting you're out then, you have a farm at home as well?
Yeah, we're milking just short of 100 cows there, and we keep a good share of cattle. They could be up to 180, 200 cattle there between everything. So
you're always busy then?
Plenty to be done, there's no fear of that.
Your father, he started the contracting business, didn't he?
He did, 43 years ago, I'd say, was it, give or take. He built his way up, I suppose.
He was at a long time then?
Yeah, he had a good few years of starter put down, in fairness. He doesn't do much now anymore, in fairness. He's
the cows are where he's at now.
Yeah, he's kind of sticks at home. He does bits baling and bits of handiwork, but he wouldn't be out for awful long days and that. But Eric does lots of enough to be at the cattle and the cows and things, and he honors that now, so he's happy with that.
Someone has to keep the farm going, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too.
I'd say you're busy enough.
Well, most of the time anyway, you would be, it's impossible to keep on top of everything all the time,
It is,
like that, there's plenty of days that you have to be jumping between both, but it's impossible to be full time to one of them over the other. To be full time to both of them, you can have to be 3/4 with one and coming and going to another one, just the way it is,
Your dad, he still has his first tractor that he bought, I think.
Lamborghini 1056,
that must be his pride and joy then.
1980, she'll never leave the yard anyway. We did it up a few years ago there. It's nice to keep that too, keep one or two of the older ones.
It's just a credit to him,
and the fertilizer spreader, and he'd be as happy up in that for the day as one of these new ones.
Whenever you go old enough, you take the reins kind of job.
Yeah, I suppose they were throwing at me when as soon as we'd say I turned 16 or 17, I suppose I was at it all the time and got going and got into it, as the fella says, and there last year, I suppose, I kind of full running of the reins, as you would call it, but
running the finances too.
That's the side of it.
That's why there's so many tractors.
That's the side of it you'll be trying to keep away from. But
don't look at them.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose he was just, he'd enough of there's a nice bit of organising drivers and when to go here and there and all the rest, and the phone, and I suppose he'd enough of that done, as the fella says. He'd enough headaches back along, so he said he'd pawn off that job while he could.
He's fed up dealing with humans, he just like the cattle.
Well,
the cattle don't talk back to him.
Exactly.
So how do you find the organising of everything?
Yeah, sure. This year now went too bad so far. The first cut there went relatively well. We had plenty of weather and all the rest. So everything was smooth sailing enough. We'd like that. Once you have it spread out and steady, if you have a driver list, you're not going to be badly caught because you can push out a job a day or whatever, you know.
And let the harvester sit a wee second or two.
Well, and don't you know now, between one thing and the next, trying to get the men or balers and loading shovels and all the rest, and taking it easy at the best of times and trying to keep it going, you know. There is going to be days you're going to be caught, like, you know, and
you have to drag your father away from the cows. Yeah,
he don't be too inclined anymore. Especially this week when there was pressure on, but he does work away, but like that is just to get everything to fall into place. It's grand most of the time, but you would have the odd headache here and there, and you'll be looking up and you'll be seeing clouds and fellas getting excited, but
phone non-stop ringing.
Yeah.
So you find it alright getting drivers most of the time anyway?
Yeah, we're lucky enough to know there's a good few buddies of mine there now that drive for us there for the couple of weeks in the summer and things, and you know, if you can keep work there for a man, one man full time or two or whatever, you know, you'll be able to keep on to them, like trying to get a good few drivers there for, you know,
a few long draws and stuff.
Yeah, a few days of pit there or whatever, you know. That's when it's hard to get drivers, you know, whereas if you spread out work, you're fine, like you can pick them up handy enough. We were just lucky there now this year, the boys were all finished college there just when we were coming into the first cut, like, and it just suited lovely. Everything fell into place, you know. We were
college out the gap, grass fever on.
Yeah, like. Exactly. We're very lucky with Aoife there for the harvester and things. Didn't think you could put anybody up and, like, you know.
Yeah, Aoife was telling me her boss is very forgiving.
Yeah.
With days off.
We're lucky enough, yeah, in fairness.
Her boss knows the crack.
Yeah. You know, so there's a bit of give and take, as the fellow says.
Yeah. Is there much pit silage this part of the world?
There would be a good bit of pit silage. There's a lot of dairy farming around here, so there is a lot of pit.
But then it's only really 2 cuts, isn't it?
2 cuts, yeah.
So you're at it a few weeks of the year then?
Yeah.
Kinda?
Yeah,
couple of weeks.
So.
And then the baling will go all summer?
And the baling goes all summer then, yeah. And a lot of the second cut would be baling as well.
Yeah. A lot of farmers will take 1 cut of pit and then they'll go on to the bales after.
Yeah.
This is unusual actually for a second cut bit of pit then, yeah.
Well, yeah, you'd have the few that do all hit like first and second cut.
I suppose it's just space really.
Yeah, and it's kind of preference here, like, you know, he prefers the pit and he'd rather not have too many bales, so
that would make a lot of sense to someone for like myself, like up north, everyone's just pit silage all the way.
Yeah.
But it's just mad the amount of bales that are done up here.
Yeah, there's a lot of bales as well, yeah. And a lot of people in recent years, they've gone from pit to completely bales.
Yeah, they just find it easier then, or something.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Maybe it's cost of things, or things like that there, yeah. What's the kind of split with bales and pit, do you know?
Yeah, a lot of people would be half and half, you know. I suppose bales are getting bigger all the time. You know, you think it'd be the other way around, but I don't know, a lot of people find the bales very handy, like, you know, and they don't seem to mind the extra cost of the bales compared to the pit. I suppose there's a lot less work in it for them, you know. A lot of people there go away and put in one big first cut and they need to be stripping off the pit again. To put in a second cut or whatever, like, you know, they'd bale the second cut, or even there was a lot of people there now that will say put in 15 or 20 acres into a pit, they're gone away making, we'd say 250 bales instead.
Kind of makes sense, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, food silage coming in at different times still as well, you know, you needn't have it all together, like, you know, where's the pit there, a lot of fellas, they'd be a share of it, you know, coming in stages and things. And with the pit in, if some of it's early there, it's kind of gone overgrown, I suppose you could say, and things like that. And with the pit in, they likes to cut a good crop and things, so I suppose that's why they go for the bales. They're a bit more flexible, like, you know.
And the baling outfit then, you've got the Fusion 3.
Yeah, we upgraded to the Fusion 3 Plus there. A lot of people wanted to fill them there instead of the knitting. We had a Fusion 2 and it was due an upgrade anyway. It had a good number of bales up in it, and geez, we're delighted with the 3 now since we got it. Not a day's bother, in fairness. They're more or less maintenance free. You have the cameras pick up there, and a serious baler to take grass. You know, you'd hardly look at the pickup when you'd be baling, like, you know, little worry about blocking and all that in comparison to the 2, like, she's just an animal to take stuff, like.
And then the final full-time working Lamborghini's on the baler, isn't it?
Yeah, the 180 fine tractor, in fairness. She'll be a collectible yet. She's a serious
She'll maybe
tractor.
end up in the shed beside the rest, or
Definitely, yeah.
the other Lamborghini.
She won't be going anywhere anytime soon, anyway, you know, she's...
You'll not be in a panic to get rid of her then?
Yeah, definitely not, no, like that. She'll stay baling for a long time yet. You know, they're still a very fresh tractor, and they're a good trouble-free tractor, you know, and there's very few dim Lamborghini ones around. There's a few Sammys here and there, but...
and the Sammy, the Deutz and the Lamborghini, they're all the same, aren't they?
Yeah, all the same, bar the colour.
Colour and the brand.
Yeah, it's just dealer.
Just happens to be,
dealership,
the Deutz dealer is close.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you reckon? You reckon someday soon there'll be a harvester upgrade looking at maybe?
I'd say it'll hardly be in the next few years, but I suppose sometime down the line it'll have to come eventually. I suppose the John Deere's there, the 8.5s and 8.6s are a savage machine.
So
in fairness,
you reckon you stick by a John Deere?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's a thing we never even looked into, I suppose, because to be a bit down the line yet. But the John Deere, they do seem a fine machine now, in fairness. There's only 1 or 2 around here now. I suppose the Crown or the other big one, like the...
Crown Class is quite big around here, yeah.
Yeah, Class will be big enough around here as well. I suppose Class will be nearly the main one. Class and John Deere are the main around here, and there's one man bought a Crown, alright. I don't know, I suppose you'd have to think long and hard about that, but the 7400 will pick what we have to do now.
The harvester's Aoife's there, and she just doesn't let anyone else in it now.
Yeah, nobody else is left. Nobody else really wants to. I'd be afraid to get on the wrong side of it.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to mess anything up, would you?
Yeah, exactly, that's about it. You'd have more than enough to be at now between mowing and baling and pushing up and things. The harvester was never a thing that I was too driven for, you know.
And Aoife already had a claim.
Yeah, maybe that too.
Yeah.
But,
I suppose you're not long buying a few tractors now, so...
Yeah, well, that's the other side. We've been up with them now,
they'll be fresh for a few years now.
Fresh, yeah.
I'd say it was nice to get them all refreshed.
It was, yeah. Do you know, sure, they're a big step up there from the Lamborghinis, the 150s we had there. You know, just for comfort wise and everything else with it, you know, and I suppose they all had high enough hours up in them like that. They had no trouble giving now or nothing, but you know, I suppose we said we'd freshen things up again by upgrading a few bits, and we started off with 1, and you know, we formed there now, and like that, I suppose.
It's worked out well.
Yeah, you have to do a lot of work in a short space of time there now, like, you know, and you just kind of have to have the gear to do it, I suppose, in a way. Repairs there are a massive cost now, like, you know, and if you're intending on doing a share of work, like, you know, it's a kind of a job you're at it or you're not, you know.
Yeah, you need to be all in kind of thing.
Yeah, it's all in or all out. Himself kind of said if you're going at it, you know, you kind of have to upgrade a bit, and you know, we did, and so far so good. You know, we're happy so far, because sure, agri mechanics there now are very hard to get them for starters, like, you know, and like that parts there for a time were tough enough to get there. With the last year or 2, I suppose they're not too bad now, but we'd no more repairs than when we came up to these tractors, like, you know.
I suppose the warranty's nice too.
It is, I suppose, like, it's a good complaint we weren't able to make use of it. Because we did get no great trouble from them. Like, they don't have massive high hours up yet, of course. Like, you would be hoping that then you'd get a good value out of them again, like, you know, and if you could trade them again around 7, 8, 9, 10,000 hours again, like, you know, that.
Would you reckon a good upgrade for the 215 would be? Would it be a Warrior by chance?
Yeah, I suppose, sure, of course, they'd be the one to go for. Fairness, I reckon this is finest tractors I've driven, like, you know, I couldn't ask for it to be any better than it is in time. If
you fancy we upgrade
if
the
things
variable,
are going very well.
Yeah.
But
if milk price shoots through the roof, and are you end up lifting many acres more?
Yeah, I suppose if with the work they'd be mighty, but like that, the ones we have now will do us right.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, how much is too much?
Exactly. Exactly.
You need to have a bit of a life as well, like.
You do well. You know, you didn't go overboard, I suppose.
You try your best anyway.
Yeah. That's all you can do.
What's the contract like in this part of the country?
Oh, it's tough now in recent years.
Yeah.
There's so many at it, so it's gotten tougher, and you have to really fight for your jobs now.
Yeah.
You know, you obviously would have your loyal customers, but then there's ones that just price around every year, and you know, they might go with the cheapest, or they mightn't, and they might stick with you. So
it's harder each year.
Yeah.
So you reckon you'll be at this contract and game for many years to come then?
Yeah, I suppose we're not sick of it yet, anyway.
No.
Whenever we get sins, whenever that will be, we might pull out then. It's a bit of a disease, isn't it? But alright, it's a nice job to be at, you know. If we're always at it, you'll find it hard not to stay at it, as everyone says.
Couldn't see yourself in an office, could you?
No, definitely not.
Especially whenever you have an office that has scenic views, such as yesterday or the day before. Like.
Yeah, that's about it too.
That helps the whole thing now.
Yeah, it does, definitely. If you're out and about there, you know, you're. It's nice, in fairness.
Seeing the country.
Exactly, yeah. You know, up there where you were yesterday, there aren't too many more get to see that every.
No.
We don't be up there every day. We won't, like, not everywhere is like that, but at the same time.
Whenever you do get there,
it's nice. Out of that big field out there in Muckers there is
beautiful spot.
definitely, yeah.
But no, I do. I love it. I do it for the love of it. That's what I'd say, like, to anyone that would think about doing it. Like, it's something you have to love it to do it. You know, the long hours, early mornings, late nights. Like, you really have to love the job.
Well, Seamus, it was great to come out and see this fleet of yours, and it's a complete credit to you, to be fair.
Thanks.
Everyone's well looked after.
We try, you know, some bit. No hassle. Thanks for coming.
Not a problem. It's been a joy.
Yeah.